Hi everyone, Eric Carter here, and welcome to my What's in my LaunchPad video. Now I know this one is really quite late, and I did actually record one previously with macOS 10 Mountain Lion, but with the release of Mavericks I've changed things around quite a bit, so I thought I'd give you an updated version of What's in my LaunchPad. Now I did What's in my dock quite some time ago. In fact I did that near the start of the time I actually owned my first MacBook Pro, and now I'm actually going to show you what's in my LaunchPad, so with a pinch of my fingers, let's go into it. So, quite stock and standard at the start. We've got Safari, Mail, Messages, Contacts, Calendar, Reminders, Notes, iPhoto, GarageBand, FaceTime, Photo Booth, iTunes, App Store, and the Hack Store. Now this does not come stock. This is something I actually put here myself. Now the Hack Store is basically a place where software developers put all their applications inside here if they're disapproved by Apple. So basically apps that are not allowed in the App Store or Apple have disapproved, they all go in this Hack Store. So it's actually really quite baffling sometimes because you actually find quite a few really good applications in there that you're like, I can't believe Apple did not approve of them, as they really are quite clever and creative. So you definitely want to get download this. It takes up next to no space on your Mac, and you're open to quite a lot more possibilities with what you can do with your computer. Next we've got QuickTime Player, Preview, Text Edit, and I used to use Text Edit to write my scripts down for my videos when I had to do voiceovers, but then I changed from that to IA Writer, and IA Writer is just so amazing. I've been using this for my script writing, and it gives you a lot of additional information which for writers is very important and very useful. For example, if I want to do a review of a voiceover like I did my Mortal Kombat PS Vita review, with that I wanted to know how long the review is going to be. I wanted it to be around 4 minutes. Now normally you can't really calculate that if you just write it down, but with IA Writer it says how long it'll take for you to actually read this at a normal pace. So that's really great, and it really helps me sort of get a much better idea as to how long my video is going to be. So I would highly recommend IA Writer to anyone who wants to write down scripts or articles or anything like that. This is really useful, even as focus sort of mode as well. Next we've got Skype, pretty standard. A lot of people use Skype, and I would highly recommend it for video calls. We've got Facebook, which is basically, I don't really use Facebook, but I really get put off by it. Just even on smartphones or tablets, and even the desktop website, they're just cluttered and a big mess. So I wanted to get something to simplify the interface for me, and this is basically pretty much the mobile version, which just basically pops up on the top of your notification bar, or your status bar on your computer. Next we got Other, and again these are all standard stuff. So yeah, this is Apple's Other folder. Then we've got Utilities, and this is one I actually created myself. So in here we've got 1Password, which basically allows me to sync all my passwords and email addresses, etc. using this. Apple have done something similar quite recently, but I've been using 1Password for a long time. I've stored all my passwords in there, so I'm primarily using this one. Clear My Mac, this is something that I would highly recommend to anyone who has a Mac to use. Basically, obviously you can have a lot of information that you delete on your hard drive, and it's going to leave little bits of scattered data around. This will basically completely remove it, and if you want to uninstall software, this will properly uninstall the software for you instead of you doing it the regular way on Mac. So anytime you want to uninstall software, this is what I would highly recommend you use. And it also cleans up your computer a lot. And overall, I've been using this for pretty much at the start I got my Mac, and I've cleaned up over a terabyte of space on my hard drive. And my hard drive is a 500 gigabyte hard drive, by the way. So I've cleaned up a lot of data. Next we've got Super Duper, and this is what I actually used when I copied the data that was from my hard drive into my SSD, and that's what's in my MacBook Pro now, the SSD. So I made an exact clone of my hard drive onto my SSD with Super Duper, and it worked very well overall. So yeah, Super Duper, can highly recommend that. Battery health, this basically just gives you information as to how much charge cycles your battery's been given and how much longer it'll last. Translate Q, I didn't really use this as much as I thought I would. It basically translates different language on your computer or internet. You just basically have to have this open and then press a hotkey that you specialize yourself, and then it'll just translate it for you. However, I've primarily had to use this on the internet, and I've actually found that just switching to Google Chrome is much better, as that allows you to translate from whatever language into English. So I might actually remove this, but the reason why I haven't is because it's a very small file, so you never know when it could come in handy. Next we've got BlackBerry Link, and personally I only kept this and used this when I had the BlackBerry Z10 into review. I would not normally remove it, but the thing is I never know if I get another BlackBerry into review, because I still got one to review, the Q10. If I do ever get that into review and I want to sync my data across, I will need to install this again, so for now I've just left it on my Mac. Mac Hider, now this is actually something from that hack store I showed you, and this is really good. Now it does come with a paid version, which has a whole bunch of other features, but one of the things I really like about this is it allows you to hide, this is the trial version, it allows you to hide a limited amount of your files. If you get the full version, it'll allow you to hide unlimited files and then do various other things. But what I like about this is that if you let, say, your younger child or sibling use your computer and you don't want them to delete anything or alter any of your important information, this will allow you to hide that folder or files of yours, which is very, very useful, so you don't have to worry if someone's going to actually start peeking through your files or anything. So that's a very, very good sort of software right there, and something I really think Apple should have allowed to go through in their App Store. Next we've got Maxthon. I haven't really tried this or used this much, but it's supposed to be a faster browser, it quotes, and I've only kept it there as a backup browser in case I ever need it. Then we've got Calculator, standard. Then we've got Game Agent, which is also quite standard if you just look that up, but basically allows you to see what games will work on your Mac. Android File Transfer. This is what you're going to have to use to transfer files from your Android phone over to your Mac, because unlike Windows, your Mac won't automatically recognize the file. You need to actually install Android File Transfer. And then we've got Trim Enabler. I'm actually going to click on this and show you this. Now, Trim Enabler is basically something that enables trim, and it's actually quite interesting here. It says the patch is not active and trim is not enabled. Use the slide above to enable trim. I thought I enabled trim already. Please reboot for changes to take effect. Now this is actually very strange. I did enable trim before, but yeah, basically just you actually saw me how to enable trim there. Basically just search it, and then you'll find Trim Enabler, download it, install it, and then there you go, you can enable trim. There is a paid-for version, this is the free version. The paid-for version allows you to do various of these tweaks and stuff, but you know, all I want to do is enable trim, and trim will basically make your SSD last longer. And I'm really actually concerned, because I did actually enable this some time ago and actually install my SSD, but now it's disabled. So yeah, it's actually very, very strange. So, we've got Trim Enabler right there, and that's everything in the Utilities folder. Even though Utilities normally sound boring, I've actually got some really quite interesting stuff in there. Mission Control, Dashboard, System Preferences, TweetDeck, which is my most favorite Twitter client. I'm really actually quite sad that they actually discontinued that on all other mobile platforms. Next, we've got Video, which is quite like the fun sort of section on my folder right here. So here we've got ScreenFlow, which I'm actually using to record this video with. Final Cut Pro 10. Final Cut Pro has caused me so many issues, and the thing is, you can get used to actually using this to edit, but the thing is, it actually has problems exporting my video footage, and I spent hours upon hours upon hours editing a game review, which I was going to make for you guys to watch, and I spent loads of time actually trying to use software for the first time. At the end, it would not export, and hours of work went down the drain right there, and that's why I've always been sort of put off by using Final Cut Pro. I used to use it quite a lot, just to do basic edits on my YouTube videos of my unboxing and reviews and stuff, but even then I've actually just stopped using Final Cut Pro and I've moved to Adobe Premiere Pro. This software is great. If you're basically someone like me who wants to use Sony Vegas and that's not on the Mac, this is the closest alternative you can get to using it. It does take a lot longer to learn, but once you've learnt it, then basically you can just let your imagination go wild and use basic tricks to come up with some really kind of articulate and very artistic results. So Adobe Premiere Pro I can highly recommend. I really do love using this. And my Mortal Kombat PS Vita review was actually edited using Adobe Premiere Pro. And my Injustice Gods Among Us review for the PS Vita, which is taking quite a bit longer than I expected, but will definitely be up eventually, is going to be also edited with this. Then we've got VLC Media Player. This is hands down the best video player you can ever get for your Mac, and I wouldn't recommend any other one. I would remove QuickTime Player, but I've just kept that there just in case, because Mac actually does rely on QuickTime. And VLC is the one I would highly recommend if you want to use anything, as it would accept pretty much every single video and audio file you throw at it, including MKV files, which is one of the most popular ones now. Mac X YouTube Download, and I actually reviewed this for the company that actually wanted me to review this, so I reviewed it. I also did a giveaway of the actual deluxe kind of version, and I still use this to download YouTube videos if I ever need to. Then we've got Tuber. Now Tuber is just basically another way for you to watch YouTube videos, and I just sort of tested the free version out. That's all that is. Graphics and design. Over here we've got Adobe Photoshop CS6. Adobe Photoshop CS6 I basically use to do thumbnails and certain things like that, or other kind of effects I need to use for my reviews and stuff. But primarily I don't really. I still use for thumbnails primarily. However, if I want to do a basic one, I can do that on Adobe Premiere Pro CS6, so I can stay in the same software then. We've also got Adobe After Effects CS6, and I would really like to learn a lot more of After Effects, as I've got some cool ideas which I would like to implement in my future reviews, particularly my gaming reviews. But it takes a long time to learn, and I haven't really got around to actually spending enough time to actually learning this, but I've still got it here. Game Salad. Now this basically is a much more visual way of actually allowing you to design applications for Android and iOS. So I actually installed this. I did use it quite a bit at first, but I haven't really got around to learning this too much as I've got a lot of other stuff to do. But this is something I'm definitely considering learning, and I'd definitely like to use, so I've still kept it here. Next we've got Google Chrome, uTorrent, Parallels Desktop, which allows me to run Windows simultaneously whilst I've got Mac on here. So yes, I'm somehow cheating, even though I've been a lifetime Windows user for about 15 years of my life. Windows 7 applications, that just comes with Parallels. When you have Windows installed, it basically shows you those. iBooks, I'm actually considering seriously removing this. Mac Tracker, which basically allows you to sort of have a look at all the previous generation of Macs and the current generation of Macs, basically allowing you to compare the specifications with your current model and seeing what they offer. So I've got that here, which is really quite neat. And a little glitch with the LaunchPad there wouldn't let me swipe all the way. Then we've got Evernote, and we've got the Games folder, which I'm sure many of you will be interested in. So inside Games, we've got the OnLive application, Star Wars The Force Unleashed for Mac, Wolverine. Now this is actually, if you search Wolverine, then Cider, C-I-D-E-R, you will really be actually quite impressed with what you can actually find. And for me as a Windows user, I was actually very impressed and quite happy and relieved that the Cider is actually there. Lego Batman 2. And yeah, it's a Mac application, although it's having a lot of issues now when I'm trying to connect my 360 controller to my computer. A lot of issues. Then we've got Injustice Gods Among Us. Now, this is not for Mac, this is for Windows. I've actually got it installed. You can see these two lines. Basically means it's a Parallels desktop application. And I basically got this installed for my Mac. And it works really quite well, although it has some issues, but primarily when you're in the matches, they work quite well. And also got Mortal Kombat here, which is also a great game. Spider-Man 3 for Windows, which I've got on here, really for web swinging and free roam. Ultimate Spider-Man, again for free roam. The Punisher, again, that's a really good game I want to bring over from my Windows computer. Unreal Tournament, which I consider to be the best game ever made. And then we've got Game Center and Chess. Now I do have Batman Arkham Origins on my Windows sort of like partition as well, but I forgot to add the icon here, so that's that really. So then we've got Speed Test Utilities, Blackmagic Disk Speed Test, allows you to test the speed test of your SSD or hard drive, and Geekbench, which I've also got. Then Toast Titanium, which basically converts, I think it's a FLAC or FLAC audio files to MP3, which I had to use at one point. Well, twice. And then DivX, this is basically the DivX sort of like area. I wanted to use DivX codecs. Now, Macs on the Mac computer is nowhere near as good as Windows when it comes to codecs, because I could normally just install DivX on my Windows computer. Then, literally, Sony Vegas Pro, Adobe Premiere, any software I throw at it can recognize MKV files. But with Mac, it doesn't do that. So you basically have to convert the file, which just is a pain to me. So I'm really disappointed with that on Mac, coming from a Windows user. Next screen I just put some random stuff here, like this is the extractor. I've got some extracting files like WinRAR, again a Cider, UnRAR X, WinZip for Mac, and AJoiner. Now let's move one more screen to the right, and I've got Adobe right here, and a miscellaneous folder. That's practically it. So guys, thank you very much for watching. This has been Eric from ecartman12.blogspot.com. Please thumbs up, comment, and subscribe, and if there's any other Mac videos you want me to make, seeing as I've been a Windows user for my whole life pretty much, let me know and I'll definitely make them. So, thanks again for watching, and I'll see all of you next time. Take care.